Did you know that Red Bull offered Max Verstappen more than $65 million a year in the midst of an internal crisis? An offer like that sounds crazy, but what's at stake goes far beyond money. Before we continue, tell me in the comments, would you accept staying at a team in crisis for that kind of money? What's really going on at Red Bull that makes them willing to pay the unthinkable? In this video, we're going to tell you why Red Bull has made one of the most outrageous offers in F1 history to retain Max Verstappen, and what risks they're taking. Four-time world champion Max Verstappen has been the undisputed face of Red Bull racing since reaching the top of Formula One. His talent, his aggressiveness on the track, and his ability to make a difference even with an imperfect car have made him the pillar on which the Austrian team has built its strategy in recent years. One of the most delicate points is the performance of the RB21, the single-seater with which Red Bull is competing this season. From the first tests, it was clear that the car was not living up to expectations. Balance issues, an excessively narrow operating window, and a lack of consistency on technical circuits have made the RB21 unpredictable and, for many, uncontrollable. Internally, tensions have multiplied. The departure of Christian Horner, one of the key figures in the management structure, created a void that has not yet been fully resolved. Although Pierre Wach, the technical director, has assumed greater responsibility, his public statements have reflected an atmosphere of concern rather than control. He acknowledged that the car's problems weren't resolved in preseason and that the car's performance is far from ideal. All of this has created an environment of uncertainty. And when it comes to a driver like Verstappen, that environment doesn't go unnoticed. Despite his professionalism and loyalty to Red Bull, Max knows his time at the top is limited. He can't afford to waste valuable years waiting for the team to get back on track. Verstappen has made it clear on more than one occasion that what he seeks is to compete at the highest level. He has no shortage of money, and neither does recognition. His priority is to have a car with which he can fight for every victory, every podium, and every championship. And right now, Red Bull isn't offering him that. What in previous years was a relationship of mutual trust and performance is now beginning to show cracks. Contract stability until 2028 sounds solid on paper, but in practice, everything depends on how the situation develops in the coming months. F1 is a fast-moving sport, and loyalties can shift just as quickly. Verstappen knows this better than anyone. With this scenario in place, it's no longer just a question of how much Red Bull can pay. It's a much bigger question, whether the team has the real ability to regain the competitiveness it needs to keep its star driver. Amid the chaos at Red Bull, rumors about Max Verstappen's future have begun to multiply. What initially seemed like simple speculation from specialized media outlets has escalated into open conversations within the paddock, fueled by leaks, subtle gestures, and statements that leave more questions than answers. Verstappen, far from being left on the sidelines, has become the epicenter of a potential signing storm that could completely reconfigure the Formula One grid in the coming years. One of the key pieces in this narrative is Mercedes. The German team has made no secret of its interest in Verstappen, and inside sources assure that Toto Wolff has been closely following the Dutch driver's every move. This is no coincidence. After a couple of seasons away from the spotlight, Mercedes is ready to return to the top. And to achieve this, they know they need more than a good car. They need the best driver available. And that, as of today, continues to be Max Verstappen. Mercedes' plan seems as ambitious as it is risky. They would be willing to pay the exit clause included in Verstappen's contract with Red Bull, a sum that could exceed 100 million euros. It's not just about money. It's about sending a clear message. Mercedes wants to dominate again, and is ready to do whatever it takes to achieve that. Signing Verstappen would be a masterstroke, not only sportingly, but also symbolic. It would mean robbing the rival of its most valuable asset. Verstappen's entourage, for their part, has opted for silence. No official statement, no confirmation or denial. A typical strategy when negotiations are underway, or when they want to maintain tension to obtain better terms. The most interesting thing about this moment is that the dynamic has changed. In the past, teams were the ones who pressured drivers with offers and terms. Today, Verstappen is the one in absolute control. He decides whether to stay or go. This position of power allows him to explore every possibility without committing to any, at least for now. For the general audience, all this translates into a growing sense of uncertainty. What will happen to Verstappen? Will he leave for Mercedes? Will he dare to try his luck at another team? Or will he use all these rumors as a tool to strengthen his position within Red Bull and demand immediate improvements? Neither option can be completely ruled out, and that makes the outlook even more exciting. With the rumors growing every week and the signals from Mercedes becoming increasingly clear, it's becoming clear that Red Bull isn't just competing on the track. It's also fighting a diplomatic battle off it. And in this silent war to retain Verstappen, any false move could cost them much more than just a championship position. Faced with the constant siege of rumors and the latent threat of a historic breakout, Red Bull has decided to respond in the only way possible when a giant feels cornered, with an offer that breaks all known conventions. The Austrian team has spared no expense in terms of numbers or conditions to try to secure Max Verstappen's permanence in its ranks. We're talking about a proposal that exceeds $65 million in annual base salary, not including performance bonuses that could further inflate that figure. It is, without a doubt, one of the most colossal offers in the history of modern Formula One. This move is not just a show of economic power. It's a direct statement of urgency. Red Bull understands that its recent hegemony has been cemented by Verstappen's talent, and that, without him, the entire project could falter. Therefore, beyond money, they have structured the contract with specific clauses that seek to give the driver a greater sense of control and security. However, the situation goes beyond a salary figure. What's at stake is trust. And right now, that trust is seriously damaged. The RB21's technical problems, the car's loss of pace. The driver himself, although discreet in his statements, has hinted that he is not completely satisfied with the current situation. His body language in interviews, his reactions on the radio during races, and his behavior in the paddocks show a more tense, more critical, less patient Verstappen. And with good reason. Accustomed to constantly fighting for victories, being relegated to fighting for third or fourth place is not up to his standards. He's not in F1 to score points. He's in it to win. For its part, Red Bull is trying to counter this tension by offering more than money. They have proposed giving him a more active role in the technical development of the 2026 car, including direct participation in the new Red Bull powertrain's engine project in collaboration with Ford. This move has a dual purpose. On the one hand, to make Max feel like a fundamental part of the team's future, and on the other, reinforce the narrative that what's to come will be even greater than what has already been achieved. But not everything is that simple. Developing the new engine involves risks. Never before has Red Bull independently manufactured its own power unit, and although they have Ford's expertise as a technical partner, uncertainty is high. Verstappen, who is as meticulous off the track as he is on it, knows full well that a change in the regulations can completely redefine the competitiveness of the grid. In this context, Verstappen's position is as strategic as it is calculated. He hasn't rejected the offer, nor has he publicly accepted it. He is measuring every step, every statement, every move by Red Bull. His silence acts as a constant reminder that he holds the power to decide. And meanwhile, the team continues to try to convince him with the only thing it can offer right now: stability, institutional loyalty, and the promise of a return to the top. In the coming months, all the key pieces of this story will be in flux. Red Bull knows it's in a silent countdown. They can't afford to wait for the season to end to offer solutions. Every race, every qualifying session, every technical improvement to the car will be closely watched by Max Verstappen and his entourage. What's at stake is not just his permanence, but his perception of a team's competitive future. The patience of a driver who has been accustomed to winning isn't infinite, and Red Bull is clear about that. The season calendar gives no respite. The following races will be crucial to assess whether the team can react in real time or if the technical decline is deeper than previously thought. Major updates are expected to arrive for the RB21, especially regarding aerodynamic balance and tire management, two of its current weaknesses. But it's not just about bringing in new parts. What Verstappen needs to see is visible progress, concrete results, and a clear direction in development. Promises are no longer enough. What counts now is execution. Another important factor in the near future will be the progress of the Red Bull Powertrains project. Although the team insists that the partnership with Ford is working well, The truth is that building a competitive engine from scratch is one of the most complex tasks in the sport. Max Verstappen not only expects to be involved, but he needs assurances that the engine will be ready and at the level necessary to fight for championships. Any hint of delay or lack of performance could reinforce the idea that switching teams is a safer decision for 2026. The situation surrounding Max Verstappen and Red Bull is more than just a contract negotiation. It's a turning point in the recent history of Formula One. What began as a complicated season for the Austrian team has spiraled into a highly tense situation, with the future of one of the most dominant drivers of the last decade hanging in the balance. The offer Red Bull has put on the table is unprecedented, neither in terms of its financial size nor its symbolic value. However, money no longer appears to be the only factor that will determine the decision. The impact of Verstappen's departure would be profound and lasting, not only for Red Bull, which would lose its main figure, but for the entire sport. A change of team at this delicate moment, with new technical regulations on the way and a complete restructuring underway, could completely alter the balance of power on the grid. This unfolding story has shown that Formula One is no longer defined solely on the track. Big decisions are also made in offices, in engineering suites, in sponsors' offices, and in the carefully calculated silences of the key players. Verstappen now has a power that few drivers have had before him, and he knows exactly how to use it. His next decision will determine not only the fate of his career, but also the course of the entire sport for years to come. Now I want to know what you think. Do you think Verstappen should stay at Red Bull and invest in the new engine project, or is it time to seek new challenges with another team? So leave your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel.